Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'll be talking about the announcement that Google will be closing down Google Poly. This is their 3D platform for storing objects. It's basically a vault, a bit like Sketchfab. But first, a little bit of housekeeping. I just want to say thanks to all those who have subscribed over the last 6 months. When I started this channel back in June, I didn't think I'd get this far, and I didn't think I'd get anywhere near 100 subscribers. With that in mind, I'm 6 shy from the magical 100, so please do subscribe if you also like this video, and do share it. Also, I just want to say thanks to all those who have been leaving comments. It's been great chatting with you. I've had a lot of fun doing it, and it's also inspired me on a lot of my research as well. Now let's get back to the content. So this is going to be a bit of a ramble. When I first initially heard about the announcement, I got an email about it, and I'm sure a lot of you did as well. So I'll just quickly go over that email. So to the Poly users, we're sending out this note to basically tell you that on the 30th of June 2021, the site will be shutting down. The ability to upload 3D models on Google Poly will shut down on April the 30th, 2021. So what does this mean? Your assets will be available on Google Poly until the 30th of June 2021. You can download the entire library that you've created by following this URL. You can also download individual assets by viewing them on each of the asset pages. After the 30th of June 2021, Google Poly and its associated APIs will no longer be accessible. You will not be able to upload 3D models or download 3D models after the 30th of April 2021. Sorry. They want to thank us for obviously being part of this journey and using the platform, and you know they thank us for trusting to host all their assets. I mean, that's great, but I was kind of sideswiped. I mean, for me, when I got this email, I realized, oh, hang on, I've been using Google Poly for only a few months really, since I started playing around again with Google Web Designer, obviously since the announcement of the swirl. I mean, which is an amazing piece of kit. So it's kind of strange. I mean, why shut it down? It's a great vault. It's really helpful. There are so many other options on that vault. I mean, you've got so many options to explore within it. You've got the tilt brush options. You've got blocks. You've got the animals, the pets. I mean, there are so many objects that are available. I mean, I've used some of these objects in some of my Spark AR learning. So it's a really strange sort of decision, but I guess we won't know what that decision is until next year. However, so now on to the other part of that, decision that they've made. Again, I was like, well, hang on, what does this even mean for Google Web Design? I mean, after obviously having the Swirl 3D component, announcing that, and obviously having the 3D model component for a number of years. So what does it all mean? Well, I slightly panicked, because I think that's what we all do. I reached out to some colleagues and some friends to get their insights. Got some feedback and stuff, and then typically, of course, I just went back to my email about half an hour later, which I should have just waited, and there was another email. So this is kind of interesting. So if you were using Poly generally, that's what that first email was referencing. However, I did get this second email, which was actually said, "Dear Poly Pro users, we announced today that we'll be shutting down Poly. So we want to send you a special message to those users who use Poly Pro, as a shutdown of Poly Pro differs from Poly or Google Poly. So the Pro and the normal version of Poly now differ in their shutdown. They're both still going to shut down, but I think it's safe to say that there are differing outputs. So one, if you're a creator of swirl ads, the team have been hard at work on enabling a 3D model configuration within Google Web Designer. If you already have Google Web Designer installed, it will automatically update to include the functionality once it's available next year. You can also get early access to this feature in December, when we'll also be following up with another email. 2, you may disregard this note disregard the note that upload will be turned off on the 30th of April 2021. This applies to Google Poly and does not apply to Google Pro. Okay. Upload functionality for Google Pro will be disabled on the 30th of June 2021. So they're still going to disable the Pro version, but they're going to do it slightly later. Now, So point 1, the swirl ads. So that shows that Google see a future of using swirl ads. So there is a trust there to carry on using them. They see the investment in them, so that's great. The second part of this is that they want to then they're going to move all that functionality into Google Web Designer. So that's quite a significant amount of, I suppose, configuration they're going to move into Google Web Designer. Also means that they're seeing a future for Google Web Designer in 2021, where this interface will have the capability to edit 3D models the way we can do it already in Google Pro. So that means within Google Web Design, we're going to get the ability to obviously play around with the lighting, play around with the rotation, play around with the colors if we have flat objects in there. It also means we're going to be able to add the hotspots within Google Web Designer is going to be far more beneficial. It's going to make it a lot easier as well, because previously that was quite a clunky process. You would add the hotspots within Pro, but then you had to do the styling once you got into Google Web Designer, which made it that sort of slightly difficult process. So yeah, it's a bit of an odd one, really. I mean, we're losing the ability of having a vault with all this great content. What does that mean for the future? Where do we turn for other content? We've got things like Sketchfab, of course. So we could obviously get our content from there as well. I mean, that's where we could also store our content, but I kind of enjoyed storing what 3D objects I created and putting them on Google Poly. I like the community spirit of it all, just the way it worked. And the simplicity of it as well. You know, as a platform, it's really easy to use compared to others. But also, I was talking to a colleague at work. It sort of opens up a question. He said, the guy's called Peter, he said, what's Google's strategy for 3D? What is it? We heard stuff back in 2019 that they had this plan for 2020. Obviously the pandemic and the crisis came along, so maybe that has scuppered their plans, but taking out Poly is quite a significant move. So, you know, the future that Google have, I guess we don't know what it is, what they're planning to do. I mean, for me, what I'd love to see is an approach into the AR IDE platform. I'd love to see a platform from them that I could start developing lenses with. I mean, not necessarily face filters. I don't feel like that Google are into that. I think they're much more into the world building, sort of world tracking, wayfinding, you know, world canvas. I feel like that feels like more in tune with what they do. I wonder if there's going to be some kind of connection between like Google Maps. You know, there'd be a great plug-in there where you could build an experience, but you could add it to Google Maps or Street View, so when people are using it on the street, they can instantly see this experience. I don't know. It's just exciting, but also kind of sad at the same time. But anyway, those are my thoughts. I mean, what do you guys think? What do you think about the demise of Poly? I mean, obviously we've got a good 6 months of it staying around until it's finally shut down. It's about 6 months, is it? No, it's not. It's what December, January, February, March, April, May. Oh yeah, it is. I suppose it is about 6 months. So yeah, what do you guys think? What are your thoughts? Are you sad to see Poly go, or actually do you think, well, it's not really a big deal? I mean, there are other platforms out there I can use. Or do you think, yeah, I mean, it is a big deal? I mean, why do it now? Also, I mean, are you excited for the fact that you're going to be able to modify your Google, you're going to be able to modify your 3D objects inside Google Web Designer? I mean, what does that say for the future of Google Web Designer? I mean, it's going to expand that platform, that tool. It's going to make it a bigger hitter. I mean, in the future, will we see other elements get added to it? I mean, dare I say it, here's me saying I wanted some kind of AR platform, but will they modify Google Web Designer to be that platform? You know, by the end of 2021, will I be using Google Web Designer to make an AR filter? Yeah, it's a strange world, but also an exciting one. Anyway, but those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Yeah, so thanks very much. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and also subscribe to my channel. You can also now follow me on Instagram. I have a nice little channel here with some of the projects I've worked on. We've got the Ewok face, we've got the pumpkin head. You can also see some of the other technologies I'm playing around with, for example Deep AR, that didn't go so well, and also you can pick up on some of the other things I've played around with in the past. Thanks for watching.